And away we go. It's the December version of the Roundtable. Good to see everybody. It's kind of a cold, gloomy day here in Philadelphia. I hope the weather's nicer where you are. Well, welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm so excited. It's the final one of the year. This has been an awesome year. It's been absolutely spectacular, and it's been spectacular because of you guys. So thank you very much, all my new friends, all our new friends that we've met over the last couple months on table, and eventually, after all of this is done, we're going to come visit, and we'll train, and we'll share the mat and break some bread afterwards. So special guest today. How cool is that? We have Chuck Sullivan today. For those of you who don't know who Chuck Sullivan is, just go to the Kenpo history books and go beginning and start reading, and you'll see his name. This guy, to the best of my knowledge, is the most tenured guy in Kenpo, so that's why we only have one guest today, because when you have Chuck Sullivan on, you show the man the respect he deserves, and I gotta be honest, I feel like listening to him a little extra too. So anyway, we're going to get started. The technique today is escape from death. Escape from death is the technique today. So we're going to start it off with my man, Mr. Miller. If you could unmute your mic, please. We're going to go out to Bradford, Pennsylvania to start it off with Mr. Michael Miller.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it, brother. All right, guys. So escape from death today. I look at this technique as a grafting technique, as I'm sure you guys already know. But obviously, it's coming from a choke from behind. Technically, probably an attempted rear naked choke. The reality is, if they get a rear naked choke in, you're pretty much done. This is one of those things is you feel them bringing their arm around you, and that's when you start moving, and that's when you defend. So ultimately, we're going to trap. We want to look away. We're going to trap. When you trap, you want to trap at the wrist. You do not want to trap any higher up because that gives them leverage. You don't want that. You want to trap down here, okay? So when you trap, grab that wrist. You're going to look to your left, and you're going to step out. You're going to elbow, hammer, fist, just like we did in obscure wing. That's why we call it a graft technique. And by the way, if you don't know what grafting is, all grafting means is you take one or multiple moves of one technique and you blend it in with one or multiple moves of another technique or several techniques. So if we look at obscure wing, okay, I'm going to pin, I'm going to step to my left, and I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I throw an elbow. In this case, instead of pinning, I'm trapping. I'm going to go to the other side and do this like this, okay? Then, of course, we have grip of death. In grip of death, they're putting us in that headlock. The way I like to look at it is there's always something they're doing. They're not just like grabbing you and staring at you. So I believe Mr. Parker called that the nature of the attack. But the idea is they don't just grab me in a headlock and I stand there. They grab me and they're probably twisting me. So that in grip of death, it makes me step away and fire these shots and move in. In this case, I'm trapping, 1, 2. Now I'm going to go in. Instead of moving away, in grip of death, I move away. In this technique, I'm going to move in toward them. So I'm going to come around, much like I do in Crashing Wings, where I come this way and I do all this in Crashing Wings. In this case, I'm coming in and I'm going to do the grip of death situation. This is called an offset sandwich, by the way. You'll see a lot of people, do it like this. That's incorrect. One's coming down on the kidney, one's coming up into the groin, okay? It's called an offset sandwich. I'm in a reverse close kneel. You could be in a reverse bow. It all depends, but I prefer this. You fire that shot. Now, just like grip of death, you're going to come up around, come up under the philtrum, under the nose. You could grab the hair, you could go under the jaw, but philtrum, under the nose, anchor yourself, and you come in with that palm strike, okay? Now, the way I teach this technique, palm strike, and then thrusting front kick. And the way I teach it is you land forward like this. Because in grip of death, we do a snapping ball kick, and we come back with a pull drag in reverse. So in grip of death, I go snap, pull back. And in this one, I go thrust, land forward, okay? Now, I do realize that some people teach this as a knee instead of a kick. That's okay. All right, we'll talk about that in a second. But in this case, I always look away. I trap. Step 1, 2. Okay. And like I said, in this case, I come around, do my strikes this way, come around, strike this way, kick, and land forward. Now, we call this a hand-foot accent versus foot-hand accent. What we mean by that is, if you look at thrusting salute, we do the kick, and then we do the palm. So we go from foot to hand. This one says go from hand to foot, just like grip of death, okay? So we're learning, we grab, we go 1, 2, come around, hit, kick, land forward, okay? So that kind of gives you that idea. What I want to talk about real quick, because I have only 5 minutes, I'm down to about 2 left. The thing I want to talk about this technique, I come from a wrestling background. I also come from a boxing background. With that being said, leverage is everything, and protecting yourself is everything, right? Kenpo should be is a checking system. So notice I'm turning in. It's not a very wise thing to do. They're grabbing me like this, and I'm down here, and they've got their left arm available. So that, so imagine if I grab you, you start moving, I could hit you, grab you, poke you, whatever. All right, so I got to be aware of that arm. I also have to be aware of the arm that's around my neck. Okay, so even though I'm grabbing them, I'm going here. Now when I do this, I have to let go of that arm that's around my neck. So now they still have free reign with that arm. So I'm not a huge fan of this, turning into the unknown, basically, like we do in obscure claws. It's basically the other side. Obscure claws says they grab you from behind, right? And you turn in like this, and you're turning into what could be a right punch. This is the other side of that, really, if you think about it. Because now, after I do this, I'm kind of turning in to what they can do as a left. So to finalize this for my last 20 seconds, I like to go hit, cover. I'm covering up. I hit him here, cover up. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the offset sandwich the way I like to do this. I'm going to come around, and I'm going to start with that filter move already. And then I'm going to hit him with the hammer. And then I'll go hammer, and I'll come up and finish it off. That's just kind of the way I like to do it for fun. It's not the way I teach it. I teach it the proper way. You teach them a way to do it properly as ideal phase, and then you teach them maybe how to play around with it, make it a little better. Okay, so I went probably 6 minutes. Back to you, Mr. Mac.
All right. Well, that basically covers it. So thanks you all for coming to the. Nah, I'm kidding. Thank you, Miller. All right, we're going to throw it right down to Florida. The Monster Energy guy, Mr. Montessor Noir.
Greetings to all. It's a great honor for me to be with you guys today. Definitely. Before we start the presentation, I want to thank our guest. It's a great honor for us for you to be present with us today, sir, and to thank all the frontline workers, especially nowadays. The hospitals are full. I encourage everybody to make sure that we have the masks on and to avoid all the situation that is going outside, and help and support. Okay. Now, with that in mind, we'll go into the technique. The technique calls, like my brother mentioned, it's a grafting technique in a way, because it's like a mixture between a bunch of movements. I say always it's like a crossroads. You find yourself in a situation and you improvise, and you go on whatever you need to do at that time. So before we start into that, there's a lot of conditioning that is required behind every technique. The conditioning that I do in this technique, okay, is from point of origin. Okay, you have to react from point of origin. You don't want to hit with this side of the elbow. You want to hit with the pointy side of the elbow. So this is what's going to create the damage for him to release you. This is going to hit right into the bones. So make sure that this is your point of origin. So make sure that you stand behind a bag and exit and land. Make sure the point of the elbow lands right on the bone. because if somebody grabbed you and you hit him right into the tricep area, he's not going to feel nothing. So you want to make sure that you hit with the pointy side of the elbow to create the most amount of damage. So this is one area that you have to work on as much as possible, okay? Point of origin into the ribs. Point of origin into the ribs. I don't close my fist when I do elbows. Okay, point of origin into the ribs. This is going to break his ribs. Believe me, the fight is over, but we're going to continue, okay? Now, the second part I like to do is make sure that the palm into the face, when you do a palm to the face, make sure that you do it on the bag many times. And I do it with a knee. So you make sure that you hit the knee, okay, and the palm, okay? So as you go from this position, okay, okay, make sure that you land with the knee and make sure that only the palm hit the bag. Okay, conditioning is very important because when you get into the situation in the fight, if you don't do the conditioning, then you practice only with your body and you don't hit hard, then that's not going to happen. Okay, so he's grabbing you, whether he's locking your head down or pulling you back. So we're going to try to breathe. My rule is chin to chest and face to the body always. So as I grab and I land, okay, I try to breathe, chin to chest, face to the body. From there, I go directly into the groin area. I secure that area. I grab and I pull because I'm going to step behind him. I don't want him to move. I grab and I pull down. I step behind him. From there, I let go of the hand and this sneaks up right behind him. And there's your strike, okay? From there, we're going to do the palm. Notice if his arm got loose and created his elbows right here, this could be a palm to his elbow. So, okay, so this goes right into his elbow and this goes right into the face. And then from there, you drop him down. He is in that position. He's going to get this and he's going to drop down. And then you're going to go with a continuation of 5 sword if you want, okay? So from the beginning, so we grab, there's your elbow, strike, step behind, there's the hammers, one on the groin, one on the kidney, okay? And then there's the knee and the shot, and as you land, you twist them around and you exit. Now as we do this, okay, and if his palm lifted him up, so we can do a sweep and drop him down and continue with a different extension, okay? So one more time, we'll do it from there, okay? All right, so we pin, 1, 2, step behind, hit, drop, hit, okay? So drop, hit, and then, okay. And the second one is, if he, 1, 2, step behind, hit, you pumped him up, he lifted up his leg, so we can do the sweep, step underneath him. There's a hammer to the kidney, spin him down, hit, and finish him any way you like to finish. Okay? I appreciate all the time that I have been given. I thank you guys, and I want to finish the year with happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I hope to God this coming year will be much brighter and a better year for all of us. Salute.
I like that palm heel knee together. I've never seen. That's the funny thing is it's so basic and so easy, but that's what's cool about this is sometimes you just don't think about, I could put that there. That's a great idea. I love it. I'm going to work it out. Brian, we're going to be working it out in the studio next week. Anyway, all right, so moving right along, we went from PA to Florida, back up to PA. My man, and I bet he probably has the lovely Mrs. Lawler with him, Mr. Mark Lawler.
Hey, everybody. Good to see everybody. Mr. Sullivan, what an honor to be sharing the presentation with you today. Hope to meet you in person someday. And yeah, speaking of my lovely wife, if you guys wouldn't mind throwing some prayers out her way, her dad is really sick right now, which is why she is not with me today. Okay, so escape from death. I want to share with you guys some inserts and perhaps blends that I like to do with this, one of them being a jiu-jitsu technique. So from the beginning here, obviously we all know the critical thing is to protect your airway. If you do not do that, you won't be conscious to do much else. So we turn, exposing obviously the tougher part of the neck, not the windpipe, and we anchor our elbow with either one or even in some cases 2 hands, right? We step off when we apply that elbow. Now, let me tip this down a little bit. What I'm going to have you do from the elbow is to come in and strike and grab the privates, okay? We can hammer. The reason I like to do this is because of the first insert I'm going to do, or compound actually. When this happens to somebody, they tend to pop their hand, okay? So what we're going to do at that point when they pop their fingers is we're going to anchor here and we're going to break a finger or fingers. From there, if you wanted to, you could treat this like a spiraling twig and you could turn out from there if you like, okay? So carrying on, as we come around into the grip of death segment, okay, this is just something I like to do. You guys can adopt this. I like to insert twirling hammer here, okay? So from this position here, I like to come up with this whipping back knuckle, rip right back through with the elbow, and then shift hard and slam him with a hammer fist. Some of you guys that know me have seen me do that before off the grip of death. That's just how I like to do the application of the technique. One other thing I like to do there, once we get behind, when you hook a guy's jaw and you anchor the elbow, you can almost take him to the ground just by driving back like this if you get him tipped back. Okay, so we can facilitate that by coming underneath the leg and doing this kind of thing and tossing him right onto his head, okay? Very easy to do because he's heavy. Going back here, that makes his leg light, relatively easy to lift the leg into wheel him over onto his head. Now, problem with this technique is sometimes people grab like this. They don't give you the center line to hit, okay? So you're like this. It's what we call the where's your karate now grab, because you're back here, you're trying to hit the guy. There's nothing there. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to bite. Now you can bite pretty much anytime somebody grabs you. I know it's kind of a disgusting thing to do in this era of diseases, but if you've ever been bit before, I have, and you tend to let go of what you're doing, okay? The bite ends a lot of submissions. Dirty little secret, okay? So we're gonna get 2 hands in here, and we're gonna bite, okay, wherever we can. Now, this jiu-jitsu technique, I call it Gracie Trip, just because I learned it in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I know that's probably not the proper name. But if you can visualize somebody sideways, you're going to slip your leg back. You're going to be in contact with their leg. I'm going to step to here, okay? And then you're going to jump around, and you're going to trip them right onto their back. As we say, the ground hits harder than you and I, so if you want to snap your hips and let go, he's going to pancake. If you want to hold on to the arm, you can go knee to belly, okay? You can slip off into the mount. You can do a submission arm bar there also if you like. The one other thing I'll mention is if the attack starts this way and you go back for the trip, it's not uncommon for the person to run around because they feel what you're trying to do. The problem for them is they run right back into first position. What I like to do there, we could do the first technique, is to swing around, and we've got twirling sacrifice. So it looks something like this. You go for the leg, they run around, you cut around the leg and lift it, okay? It's just one door closing, another one opening. So this technique is really fun to play around with those types of things. So I see I'm 15 seconds over, so again, good to be with you guys from Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawler. You know what I like about Mark Lawler's presentations? If you're on the Brotherhood members only page about a month ago, he did one where he stuck a fork in a guy's neck. I thought that was awesome. Today he's got you biting. We're some nice guys in the Brotherhood, but sometimes you got to get mean. All right, let's take it up to the Great White North. My man, Mr. Steve Stewart.
Greetings and salutations. Mr. Sullivan, I know I've never met you, sir. Heard so much about you over the years. I hope someday we can meet. Yes, it's cold up here. It's COVID time. They got the rainbow colors. It goes green, yellow, orange, red, gray. Gray is like your lockdown. For me, gray is like gray matter. You're dead. But anyway, there's places, we're orange now. There's places red and lockdown in Toronto, Montreal. So we're just going one day at a time. We're just rolling with it. Anyway, so the technique is escape from death. And I have with me somebody I want to escape from death with, Mr. Jacob. All right, so a couple of things we can do in this technique. You guys can see me. I'm speaking Canadian, so if I go too fast, just let me know. I'm kind of off with the US language, so I'm going to speak Canadian as best I can so you understand. So, first of all, if they grab you with the wrong hand, this is something you have to really think about. You can say, would you grab me with the other hand? And if they do that, then you can comply. But if they grab you with the right hand and you really want to get out of it, just say, let go for a second. And then you run. So there's a couple of options. I like the biting. If I had a fork, Mark, I would use it. But anyway, when I like to step, when he grabs it this way, he's probably pulling me back or even grabbing. I don't have time to bite or grab, so I always like to move. Right away, I like to move and drop the hammer. So when I drop the elbow, I want to isolate the tricep muscle. Most of you guys know this already, so palm up. This way here, you're only getting about 70%. This way here, you'll get 100%. So when I step at the same time, I like to drop the elbow and the hammer at the same time. When I slide in behind them, I buckle the leg like grip of death. And when I hit with this hammer and this hammer, turn sideways, just below the umbilicus, the belly button, they have the meridian with the energy moves that way. So if it's moving this way, I like to hit it this way, in and up. And the one at the back at the lumbar area, between lumbar 2 and 3, which is more for the digestive, from a chiropractic point of view, I like to hit that in and down. So this one's going to go in and up and in and down at the same time. You see that? Buckles the leg. Now, like triggered salute, I kind of hold that there, then I shoot the knee. If he was further back, I can use a kick, because a kick is nothing more than an exaggerated knee. I heard that somewhere else and then I made it up. So from this position here, you guys all know the base move, boom, right? But from this position here, a couple of things. I can reach to the opposite side, the corpus callosum, using two-way action and take him down this way. Then I can roll him over, put your hands behind your back. So that's one way you can do it. I call it living with my hair and laying your hands on me, because it's my life. Anyway, little pun there. So again, backing, grabbing this position here, drop the hammer, drop that. You can reach that side and do that, two-way action. Using two-way action here, everything I do is two-way action. Another thing you can do in this position, if you shoot the knee, you can drop it back, keeping the head in bay. Between the elbow and the shoulder, there's an insertion point here that releases the shoulder. I just have to hit it straight down that way, and it'll take him right to the ground. Then you can lock him up that way. So that's another insertion I like to do on a humane Canadian COVID self-defense. So again, from this position, dropping, same time, I like to do both at the same time. I have this extend to this at the same time. Then when I hit, I buckle at the same time. Now, another thing you do behind the hair, behind here, is that you can roll. Two-way action, rolling the head this way so he falls to the ground. You still have him here, hold it over your knee, roll him over this way here, lock him up. Well, it's another couple of things you can do, but the idea is to make sure when you're hitting the target area, you use two-way action. One way, if he resists, but if I hit two-way, that way, can't resist that. And I buckle at the same time. I'm buckling. So, again, to recap, when they grab you this way, you can ask them to let go. We went through that. As you drop out same time, drop your weight. The lower I go, the better it works. C-step around, but I keep fused at the same time. The buckle, hold that in place. You can shoot the knee. You can shoot the kick. You can lift it. You can spin them all the way around here. Left. Down to the ground. Roll them over. put your hands behind your back, see you did it all by himself. So those are a couple of things I wanted to share with you from Canada. Back to you, Dan.
Man, I tell you what, all those fists flying, Jacob got shot down in a blaze of glory. Uh-oh, another Bon Jovi reference. All right, so we're going from Canada over to one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. I've been all over the world. One of my favorite places is Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Not because the town's cool, but because the people there are awesome. My man, Mr. Dan Donfro.
All right, thanks, Dan. Once again, honored to be here and presenting with you guys, and but also with Grandmaster Sullivan. So yeah, I'm gonna. This is a great technique. It's not always pretty and flashy like 5 swords, thundering hammers. We're gonna go out there and you're gonna look super cool doing it. This can get ugly when you're being grabbed like this. So we messed around with this with a few different scenarios. And like Mr. Miller alluded to, this being a grafting technique, we're actually going to graft it, but we're gonna start, with the obscure wing, and we're going to kind of mix it up with some other things. But I want to start with the way I do the base technique, and I actually, we messed around a little bit, made up a different ending, and then Mr. Steve Stewart just went and kind of did the same thing. So I'm going to do it anyway. So we're here, escape from death. We got the grab, bang, boom, coming around here. Hit. Now what I'm going to do is like glancing salute, where you hook the head on this side. I'm going to fire my knee. Now I got him here and I have his arm, and I'm just going to bring him right down. Boom! And there that is. So bring it back up. So one more time, we're at the end of the technique here. From this point, pow, and you got the arm and the neck, and it's tough to resist that. They're going to go right around. Now, a couple of issues with this technique is that, I think Mr. Lawler was saying, if the person's standing sideways, all right, this is going to be a little bit difficult, all right? And the other thing is suppose, Brightman might be up here getting into it with Miss Laura, and I'm like, I don't think so, buddy. And I start pulling him back like that. That's where things are going to get a little bit difficult. So we're going to go, you're going to grab. All right, so I'm here. Now what I'm going to do is graft this more into like a tripping arrow. I'm going to come around this way and take him right down. So bring it back up. I'll let Miss Laura demonstrate this one. So there she is. She's going to take 2 steps. Boom! And there it is. So one more time. Show us that. Nice. So when I'm doing this, what I don't want to happen is to go from a rear naked choke and then you end up in a guillotine choke, okay? That is a bad scenario. You're only going to have a few seconds to take care of business here. So we're mixing it up trying to go the other way. So we're still going to use obscure wing and grip of death, but I'm actually going to do both on the opposite side. So I can come in obscure wing, but then I'm going to come around this way. Boom! And I can finish it the same way. So once again, slow, I'm here, but then instead of slipping in, I'm coming around. And here we are right on the opposite side. So those are some things that you can play around with on this technique. Spinning out, spinning in, and going around the normal way. So those are some things you can mess around with on this technique. I'm Dan Donfro from Dartmouth. Back to you, Dan.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Donfro, along with Laura and Brightman. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, so we are at the halfway point already. Man, time flies when you're having fun. So a couple quick announcements. Number 1, if you like what you guys are seeing from these instructors here, and you're interested in following us a little more, you can join the Brotherhood. Just go to brotherhoodkenpo.com. It's $50 a year, only $50 a year. We have, I counted, it's 47 million videos on our members only page. It took a while to count, but 47 million Kenpo videos on there. Worth checking out. Sabora just added one this week. I'm going to be adding one soon myself. So we're always adding, we're always updating, and there's a ton of backdated stuff on there. So if you want more interested in joining the Brotherhood, just go to brotherhoodkenpo.com, hit the join button, and we'll add you to the Brotherhood Kenpo members only page, and you can get access to all that. In addition, you also get a patch, welcome card, and ID card laminated Forgot to tell you about that one. Also, there's a gentleman in France by the name of Tom Troutman who's been bugging me for T-shirts for a while. So I would like to let you guys know that T-shirts and these lovely brother hoodies are going to be available soon. So we're going to have an announcement on that in the next couple days. So anybody who's interested, they make a spectacular, man, thanks, Mom, a brother hoodie. Aw, shucks. It'll be a great thing. So check us out. All right. We're going to bring it back up into PA. My man, Mr. Brian Saul.
Man, Dan, you make me laugh. You make me laugh. Thank you, brother. I love these guys. I've known most of these guys for 30 years. And the ones that I haven't known for 30 years, it feels like I've known them for 30 years. So awesome. So thanks. It's great to see everyone. As always, I hope everyone has a great upcoming holiday. Mr. Sullivan, pleasure. And it's an honor to have you here. I know I did get to meet you once at Mr. Trejo's funeral. But I'd love to see you again under better circumstances. But it's an honor to be here with you and with all of my Brotherhood friends and family. All right, so escape from death. Let's talk about this. Let's start off with the attack. And I know it's been talked about a little bit. A lot of our Kenpo techniques aren't meant to be applied once you've allowed this guy to really cinch these things in. Whether you're doing grip of death or escape from death, whatever the case may be, you don't want to let them cinch these things in. As soon as you feel this arm going around you, that's when you want to start reacting. All right. Once they lock it in, there's most likely they're not going to be square to you doing this, right? That just doesn't even make sense unless you're going into like a rear naked choke. Once they cinch it in, there's a really good possibility that right hip's going to be there. And then you're going to have to start pulling out your Mark Lawler stuff, right? And bringing them around because that's where you're going to be able to get your escape. So as soon as this attack comes around, all right, again, you want to anchor your elbow. I like to find things that you can improve in this technique that you can apply in other techniques. So let's talk about anchoring. When you're grabbing at the wrist, and Mr. Miller's right, you want to grab at the wrist. Don't grab up towards the elbow. You're stronger towards your core. Grab at the further point near that wrist. Allow this elbow to anchor so that this anchor is engaging more than just your arm. You're engaging your lats and the rest of your torso. All right, so anchor this. That's true of when you do techniques like this. Anchor that elbow, okay? Keep that in mind. So you have your anchor, and you're going to step out, settle, establish your foundation, palm up, just like Mr. Stewart talked about, okay? You're going to hit that elbow followed by another torque, okay? Turn it in. You're going to hit hammer fist to the groin. So let's go back. You have the arm coming around. You're going to turn your head to the stronger part of the neck, drop the chin, pull down, anchoring with the elbow, pulling down at the wrist as you settle, hit that palm up. That's your first torque. It's like throwing a punch backwards, like reversing your punch. Torque it, palm up, torque it in here. Now, I have seen a nice little insert here where as you are stepping behind and bringing your hands up for this grip of death position, why not make this a strike on the way there? So you can create some space by dropping this back knuckle in as you're bringing your hands up and catting around. And then you want to drive this knee, keep that knee engaged to the back of their leg, and you have your double hammer fist. And I forget who talked about it. It shouldn't be, at the same level here. You got two different targets. You got at the groin and at the kidney. So you're always going to have one over the other. The kidney one should be the higher shot. And you want to cut through, penetrate through with those shots. You're going to reach up. All right. There's a lot of different ways you can do this grab. People like me, you got no hair to grab, right? You can grab maybe the back of my neck. You can grab, under the nose where the head goes, the body follows. You can hook under the chin. You can grab in the eye socket, turn, and then there's your palm heel followed by the knee strike. So there's a lot of good power principles in here in terms of dropping your weight and establishing your base. You have a lot of torque, all right? Dropping that knee, keeping them close. Don't allow a lot of daylight between you and them at any time. You never really want to kind of disengage in a technique and then re-engage. Once you're in it, stay in it until the end, okay? What else? What else is there? Okay, we talked about all of this. Boom, hit. I'm probably up on my 5 minutes there, so I'll cut it short there. Thank you very much. Again, Dan already called it. If you're not part of us, come join us. It's so much fun. $50 a year, and we have so much material, and we have a great time. Good to see everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. All right, it's my turn. So I'm going to stand up. I could have done this sooner. Just unplug this and turn this around so you can see me a little better. Let's make this straight. All right, escape from death is the topic. So in your Kenpo techniques, you have all sorts of different things you can do to them. You have the equation formula, add, delete, alter, prefix, all that kind of stuff. Then you rearrange. You can blend. I'm just going to turn my phone off so it doesn't beep. And then there's also there's blending or grafting. Either one is acceptable. And my dog's coming in here. This is a great way to start the show. We have lots of dogs coming in here. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So when you first learn your techniques, you don't realize that you have these lessons put in there, and escape from death is an excellent example of blending or grafting. Okay, you see them in the forms in techniques like blinding sacrifice, where you have two techniques that are put together, or glancing lance, where you have two techniques put together. Okay, here's obscure wing and grip of death blended. So this is an opportunity for you to practice within the Kenpo curriculum the concept of blending. So now I'm going to bring my son Michael in here. Okay, Michael, come on. Hey, Michael, wow. Huh. That's a good-looking Brotherhood you have right there.
Hey, you too.
Hey, thanks, kid. I appreciate it. All right, so escape from death. Here we go. So he's going to come around behind here. He's going to choke me. Now, when we do obscure wing, I'm going to do it on this side for a sec, just because he's here. When we do obscure wing, I see a lot of people pin, step, and elbow. Now, a couple guys have talked about anchoring the elbow. One of the things that anchoring the elbow does is it just locks the guy in. Just try this when you're doing obscure wing. Have a guy grab your shoulder and just pin him. We always pin and then wham, we worry about popping an awesome elbow out there. In reality, if you pin and drop that elbow, it's going to secure him in. I have a saying that you're not allowed to touch me unless I let you. And if you do touch me, you ain't getting it back until I'm done. All right? And this is one of the ways to do that, is to secure that down and pop that in there. So now when we do escape from death, this secure becomes extra important. We've practiced it in obscure wing, and now this elbow drop becomes extra important because it helps to prevent him from getting this choke in here. So you grab it, you hook it, you turn it, you tuck it, but you also anchor it. Anchor it is so important, okay? And then from here, I'm going to step in and I'm going to tenderize him with this elbow. Now, over the years, you're going to learn a lot of different variations on techniques. And one of the things that I figured out is that, I've been doing this a long time. I know how to do all of these techniques. There's no real new techniques to learn, but there's new variation on these techniques. That's one of the things about this, is you get to see all sorts of variations. One of the variations is a timing variation. And the timing variation that I like on escape from death is you grab hook, anchor, elbow, and then instead of doing the hammer, Brian touched on this a little bit, instead of doing the hammer and then stepping behind, all right? We say eliminate the and then, okay? So you eliminate the and then and replace it with the word with. So I'm going to elbow, and then I'm going to do the hammer with the step, which gives me a little extra momentum into this double hammer position here, okay? So instead of going 1, 2, and then 3, I like to go 1, 2, 3. And then from there, my son's so big, it's hard to throw him around. I know what people complain about with me. And then I'm going to anchor him back and palm heel him. All right? Thank you, son. You and your awesome hoodie. Yeah. So here's the deal. Blending. This is an opportunity for this lesson to be put in the curriculum. That's like you have techniques that are what-if techniques. We were talking about that last month with this one here, Flight to Freedom. What if is put into the curriculum in techniques like Flight to Freedom, while blending or grafting is put into the techniques with escape from death, as well as some others. So, all right, that is my time. So we're going to move right along. Oh, all right, check this out. We're going to take Philadelphia across the pond. What kind of a forms correlation is he going to do today? This is what I love to see. What kind of forms correlation is he going to do today? Renzo!
Hello, everybody. Now we continue here to be part of this group. It's a pleasure to me, Mr. Sullivan, to be in the same table. Okay, so I'm trying to do this technique very fast and very clear. As my colleagues tell us that it's very important to anchor this anchor. Okay, it's very important to do, but I prefer to do the elbow in this way. And for me, when I do this, I lose one time for this elbow. It's for that I prefer to, when I turn your neck, I grab, I anchor. Now I do this move, okay? And when I am doing this technique, I prefer to do this because when you hit, you break the head rhythm, okay? It's better if you can try to do this in this way, okay? So this is very important to don't lose the time. 1, and then 2, 3, okay? So I am doing this move, and then you are doing this move. What form? You are doing this. You are doing this, and then you are doing this move. It's in long one. This basic move, you are doing this way. You hit, you break, you ankle up. This is the elbow. And then what are you doing? This move. When you are doing this, up, and then you are doing this move. And the form is here. You ankle your elbow, and you are doing this move. Okay? You grab, you do the knee, and you go back. You don't do the knee in this move. You are doing the knee, and you control and you break. I prefer to break the arm, and then I go. But this is my version. This is one form. If you are thinking another time more, you can find the more bases in the form. Okay? You can find this and this move, and then you are capable to find this move. Okay? This is very important. This technique, only one thing more. You are doing this move and you are doing this move. Okay? You are doing this move is the anchor, and you are doing this move is the anchor. You are doing right side, and you are doing the same thing with the left side. Okay? You have different techniques in the system that you are doing the same thing with the right and with the left in the technique. So this is one concept, the anchor, and this is the same concept, the anchor to your elbow. You need to learn how you need to anchor correctly. So for me, this is all. Thank you so much. You come back to Dan another time, boss.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lorenzo. I appreciate it. And what do we get there? A forms correlation. All right. 10-second soapbox, right? You see these Kenpo chat sites, right? And you get the meatheads on there that all the time are going, dude, forms have nothing to do with fighting. Well, right there's an excellent correlation between long form 1 and how to anchor the chin. It's in the forms. The forms are important. All right. Now we're going to take it from Spain all the way over to the undisclosed location in Los Angeles to Collado and Collado's Kenpo and Boxing Emporium.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear us?
We got you.
Okay, cool. Golly, get out of here. Carry over. All right, guys. First of all, welcome. Merry Christmas to everybody. Mr. Chuck Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's such an honor to have you as part of our presentation today, and say hi to all the brothers and sisters out there. We love you. AJ, say hi.
Merry Christmas, guys. How you guys doing?
Okay, so
good to see you.
We've got this technique. It's one of my okay favorites, but I'm going to explain to you the way I learned the technique first off, and then we're going to show you some variations of what we like to do. All right. So it's an attempted rear naked chokehold, whatever. We're going to come in. We have an elbow followed by a hammer fist. Now, what I like to do, I'll throw the elbow with full force, grabbing here, throwing this. But as I do my V step, I'm going to use that momentum and my body weight as the actual attack. I don't go to the groin. I prefer to go to the crease of the hip. What that does is it opens him up and it'll bend him over a little bit. So from your elbow, from here, I'm going to use my body momentum and hit on the way. And then when I land on this foot, I'm going to use marriage of gravity as a full settle. So from this position here, I'm going to step, I'm going to elbow, I'm going to hit, and then drop all my body weight on this, actually possibly putting in a knee check, hitting the groin from here and hitting on the kidney. From here, reach up. There's a lot of hair grabs, elbow grabs. The guy that has no hair, I use this position, or you reach under and grab under the nose with your fingers crossed and pull him back this way. All of those methods work really well. So from here, I'm going to come up and then I'm going to shoot my heel palm. However, I have a problem with this technique just because he's really helping me out by height-wise. As he grabs me and he does the chokehold, I'm going to do this. I'm going to step. I'm going to go into my elbow, right? So I'm going to step, boom. I'm going to run here. But if he, for some reason, stands up high, I can't reach and I don't have a whole lot of momentum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull his nose back this way, but I'm going to use a front check this way and take his knee out, followed by a leg sweep, taking him to the ground. The reason I like to do that is from this position here, you can get a tree, you can grab the top of the tree and you can pull it and break it, right? Or you can just push it down from the bottom. That's what I'm doing. I'm using leverage from here. His center of gravity is past his back, which we want it to be. And as he's going this way, I can continue that motion, but why not take it out this way and then take him out that way? So that's my alteration to this technique. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the what ifs about this technique. Okay, so I'm going to do this technique to AJ. As I get him in the choke, he has me. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and do the technique the way you did it. Go. Pop. Now, right here, this is the problem. If you're a jiu-jitsu guy, a wrestler, you have just put yourself in another dangerous position, which you're going to have to get yourself out of. So that's another application or a different technique altogether. So we want to avoid that position. Do that again. Go. Boom. Hit. We want to avoid getting in this position. So AJ's going to explain to you, and I'm going to tell you what it feels like when he's doing this.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to double grab on this, okay? And we're actually going to turn. I know what you're going to think, okay? Turning into the choke. But what we're going to do is I'm going to shift my weight this way as I turn this way, sending his energy in that direction.
Now, what I just felt when he does that, go ahead and do it.
So I'm pulling down and I'm throwing like an outward elbow here. Wow.
It's loading my left leg and it pushes me away from his body. My initial reaction is going to be re-grab and re-enter. When I do that, watch what happens. Elbow to the face.
It's a little bit of twirling wings action on this one.
Or repeated devastation. So one more time. Go.
Boom. We hit.
One.
Hit.
Boom. And I'm out for the number. Okay. From here, continue on the traditional way.
Behind.
Boom.
Hit. But then again, we are getting back into that position right there.
Yeah.
So, option, pops, swept the leg forward. After we get in this position here, boom, crack. I'm going to take this leg out as I get this over my head. Okay. So I'm going to go, boom, and take that leg out there. Okay, from here, we got a bunch of different options that we can work with. Finish the sweep, go after the arm, and stuff like that.
Okay, so when he grabs me, now we talked about if somebody locks on this hold, it puts me in a rear naked choke, you don't have time, and if they lock and singe this on there, the chances of you getting out of this are very slim. In Germany, Brian Saul, he snuck up to me and put me in a full-on chokehold, and now you reserve to different measures. I have a different technique to get out of that, which you only have one option to do is get out of this whole thing, and it works really well. You can talk to Brian about how that affected him, but it changes your whole plan, okay? So even if it is a really good lock-on, and he's starting to choke me, and I do this, that's going to loosen the hold enough so that I can actually take this arm through and go into different options. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a follow-up video after this today, and we're going to explain this new ending that we kind of came up with, but it's kind of lengthy. We want to get into some good detail, and we're going to put that on the members only page, okay? And you guys can watch. Okay, what are we at? Okay, so I'm just watching my time. So we're going to put this video up on our page so that way a little bit more detail of what we're talking about. So the things that I want to emphasize the way I traditionally learned this technique was, as he grabs me here, he goes to this position here. I'm going to hold here. I'm going to elbow using my entire body force to hit here. Boom, dropping, pulling up, throwing this knee, throwing that knee. And once he falls, I can follow up with whatever I want. Doesn't want to get his white pants dirty on this dirty floor. Okay. And then his option was from this position here.
Grab, send him that way.
One, hit, tap.
Take the leg out that way. And then you're there.
Time out. Okay. All right, so that kind of wraps it up for us. We're throwing it back to you, Dan. Thanks again, Mr. Sullivan. AJ, anything to say?
All right, thanks, guys. Always good seeing
All right,
you guys. Looking forward to the rest of
it back to you.
He can't do that and send it back to me, or AJ blast you, and you're like, I'm out. Back to you, man. That was spectacular.
You just got me in the right place. That's all. I'm good.
Good job, AJ. Excellent, excellent. And
thank you, AJ.
That was Brian's payback from Germany.
Yeah,
thanks, man. Harder next time.
Oh, that's funny. All right, well,
That's what she said.
Frank Trejo, if you hit the guy with those 2 elbows, that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
Let's throw it over. We have 2 more presenters. Our next presenter is Mr. Sabora Chan.
All right, hello guys, salute. Welcome to another, I think this is our 19th episode of the Brotherhood Roundtable. Mr. Sullivan, salute to you. Thank you for joining us. I have the pleasure of meeting you at Mr. Trejo's funeral a 3 years ago. But anyway, all right, so to help me today, I have Mr. Pete, okay? Technique, we already know, escape from death, okay? So it's a forearm choke. We go the way that I teach it first, and then I'll show you some other options that we do. So number one, a lot of time when somebody choke you with the forearm choke from the rear like that, they're not going to be static and hold, okay? They probably yank you backward and try to take you down to the ground. Mr. Pete, come back and behind me. We'll start this way first so you guys can see. So as he comes around. Now, a lot of time, unless you're already in a fight with multiple people and then this guy sneaks up from behind, you may not see this coming. But if you are, in a general situation where you're just talking to somebody or you turn around and he jumped you from behind, most likely when he comes around with that forearm, you can probably feel it a little bit or see some sort of a shadow, and our reaction is to move. So from here, just roll with it, let him come in, okay? Important that you don't let him lock up. You need to react right away, okay? If he can lock up in a figure 4, you're pretty much done. All right, so as Mr. Pete comes in, I want to turn with him and immediately secure that his forearm and his wrist, okay? So both of my arm would come up. I need to save my windpipe. That is the most important, because if you get locked in tight, cut off your oxygen or break your windpipe, you're done. Nothing else going to work from there. All right, so important that we secure here. Keep your chin down. All right, now from here, I'm going to turn Mr. Pete this way a little bit so you guys can see. Turn this way, Mr. Pete. Turn. There you go. Now, when we shoot the elbow, you step out to the side or step back to the rear, depending on what pressure you feel. I would think that you would want to step back, anticipating that pullback. If he doesn't pull, good for you. If he does pull, you already prepared. Okay, so we trap, and this elbow is a very short jolting elbow. So it's not a follow through type of thing like that. So it's short shot like that. Pop, pop, okay? So 1, 2. Now from here, as you can see, his left hand is right there. If I get his groin, good for me. If I don't, I might be in trouble with that left hand, okay? So if I elbow here, I got him, he's bent down, and then that would be even bending him down a little bit lower. All right, so to fill the void and protect me from that left hand, you're gonna reach in and grab, okay? So you can grab the cookie itself, the whole thing, or you can grab the inside of the leg, just to maintain a little bit as you step back here and check his leg. And it's important that you are in a wide kneel to protect your center line, okay? Not to say that after all this stuff that you're doing, he can't shoot a heel kick, right? You never know, okay? So from here, you want to check that leg, make sure he can't kick you. I grab and squeeze here. Hopefully his other hand is going after my hand right there, okay, to protect himself. Now from here, that's when we go into grip of death. If he has hair, grab and pull. The important thing here, turn this way a little bit, Mr. Pete. When you grab the hair and pull, if he has hair, make sure you don't pull back. You want to anchor your elbow and pull downward so that he can't step back and escape. If I pull back this way, he steps, keep stepping, and I lose him. I want to keep him tight. So you want to anchor your elbow and pull down this way, and then shoot the heel palm. Okay, move this way a little bit. As you shoot the heel palm, that arches his back a little bit, just like that. I have the option to follow a knee shot to the side. Stand this way. Excuse me. All right, so I have the option to shoot the knee to the outside of his thigh this way, or if I hit him with the heel palm hard enough and he turns or falls like that, that's fine, just stay there. I can shoot my knee to his kidney or spine or whatever. And then from there, I run all the way to wherever I need to go. All right, so that's how I do escape from death. Other options that we have is that once you go here, okay, secure, hit, hit. I go here, boom, okay, grab, hit. Now someone else already did this, I think Dan Dunfro. Get back and behind and take them straight down to the ground, and then you end up in a tripping arrow type of position, which is go down for a second. Yep, lay down on your back, okay? So if I took him down, I would still have his arm here. You grab hold and then just stomp on him like we do in tripping arrow. Come on, back up. Okay, and then another way to get there, which is very similar to what AJ and Angelo was doing. Okay, so he grabs, I go here, I step back and trap that leg, okay, elbow, heel palm, grab, squeeze if you want to. Then from here, your left hand's gonna come back up to his wrist. This hand is already here. You step up and around. All right, let me see. Let's go at an angle right here. All right, so right here, if you do this move right here, you want to protect your face and your eyes because he can reach you with that left hand. So from here, what we're going to do is bury your head right into his shoulders so that he can't reach your eyes. And then from here, pretend you're doing a quick bow to the front, that break his base, and then you just bank left really hard, pow. That takes him down to the ground. Now, you know where you're at, which is back to tripping arrow position. You can do whatever you want from there. All right. Anyway, that's a short, quick look at escape from death. One of my favorite. So, salute. Back to you, Dan. Thank you, Mr. Pete. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sabora and Mr. Pete. All right. So that brings us to our final presenter. So I want to tell you a story. The first time I ever heard of Mr. Chuck Sullivan was almost 30 years ago. I saw an ad in probably Black Belt magazine for the Karate Connection. And what they were doing was you would send it, they could teach people all over the place. You would send them a VCR tape. They would review it, and then they would give you a lesson. You know, so I didn't know who these guys were. I asked Frank Troy who they were, and Troy was like, no, pay attention. These guys are the real deal. Fast forward 1997, I have a student. And wherever he would travel, he would find a Kenpo studio. So he was with me for about a year, and he told me that he had been involved with the Karate Connection. So I invited him over, and he brought me his tape. So he showed me a tape of his test. After the test, Mr. Vic LaRue spent 40 minutes going over everything that this guy did on the test. It was amazing. Spent 40 minutes on this one guy, and then they failed him. Old school. I thought that was great. But the point is that Chuck Sullivan is such an innovator. This guy was doing Zoom before Zoom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present Mr. Chuck Sullivan. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and away you go.
Dude.
There we go. Mr. Chuck Sullivan.
Holy mackerel. That was a great story. Thank you so much. Let me tell you another little funny thing about that. When you mentioned that he gave a 40-minute lesson and then failed him, we've done that a number of times because people think they've got it, and that was the whole object in doing the correspondence. Because when you study a tape and you think you got it, how do you know? You don't really know. And that's why we decided we would actually have a correspondence, because that way you're really teaching. And that's the only way you can do it, like in a classroom. I mean, you have a teacher, you have students, you correspond between each other, right, live. Well, we couldn't do it live, so we did it this way. And there was one instance that I got a kick out of. After, several years, actually, it was, a guy wrote to us and he said, can I come back? He said, you guys failed me about 5 years ago. And I got so pissed off. He said, I threw the tapes and everything in a drawer. And he says, I got them out recently and I watched them. And he says, you were right. You were right. You should have failed me. But at the time, he didn't feel that way. All right. Now, let me talk about what you were presenting here today. See if I can get that a little bit darker. Oh. All right. I loved everything you guys said. I don't think there was one thing that I looked at and said, I don't know. Everything was just, there's so much. You didn't leave me much. The one thing, though, is when you do the elbow back, it's almost impossible not to get the arm, not to get the flat of the arm, the back of the tricep. And another thing is we talk about all the time, we talk about point of origin, how important it is to hit from point of origin. This is the one time that you have to violate that rule. Because point of origin is only going to get you that much. That's not very much from here to here. That's not going to generate much power. Like somebody says, it's going to bounce off. You got to use the elbow. Well, get up against a life-size bag, a heavy bag, or with one of our Ultramen, and try to do that and get power into it, a real power. From here, you really can't get it. So the idea is, as you're stepping over to swing the arm out, and now put it back. Now, the problem with that is you're still coming back on a horizontal trajectory here and a perpendicular trajectory there. So you're still going to be hitting him with the flat of the arm if you pull the arm out and shoot it back. If you want to get the elbow in and you really want to get it into to the solar plexus or the rib cage, you really have to shoot it down and then back up. Now you can see how it's coming up into like the midsection. So when I always just swung the arm out. I would tell people, don't just shoot it right from here because you're not going to get power. So swing it out. Well, now I really find it's better to actually just shoot a punch and recoil a punch. Now, the way I learned the technique many years ago, back in the caveman era, was when you shoot this arm, you come around, when you bring that leg around, you bring it around back. I teach people to try and bring it back to where they are. Well, you can't because there's a body here. You're going around that body. So if you try and get it back to where it was, you're going to run into his legs, which is exactly what you want to do. You run into his legs and push the legs forward. And then the way I learned it, again, after this, the hammer fist to the groin. Now, let me say this about a hammer fist to the groin. If I do this and a hammer fist and I get it, I'm going to hit him 2 or 3 times. Now it's going to be like double and triple shock. Not just once. You're right there. It may look a little funny when you're practicing it, but you basically boom, boom, boom. Now you got him moving, and this leg comes around as the arm comes up. I learned it with the elbow up into the face. That's when you torque around, and now he's laid across your knee. Hey, we actually learned it coming up, this arm coming up, and this hand swinging way over. I've seen it done way over, and I've seen it done with a punch. Either way, then you just flip your leg out, kick him in the face, and away you go. And that was about 4 minutes and 55 seconds. You guys covered it all, and so beautifully, and in such detail. Those are the only things I could find to kind of throw my little 2 cents worth in there.
All right, Mr. Sullivan, I'm gonna jump in here right now and use this Zoom thing. So you're not overtime. So can I ask you? Because we have you, okay? Can I ask you? So now we've always understood that you're the gentleman that created Staff Set. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And could you just take a minute and just share a little bit about Staff Set and how it came about?
Ed Parker taught me a staff set, and it was a big set. It went on and on and on. And then he said, and you'll teach it. He just wanted to teach it once. I was going to have to teach it a whole bunch of times to a lot of people. So I really thought about it, and I'm all for simplicity. The easier you can make it, the easier it is to learn, and the easier it is to do, and the more likely is you're going to be able to do it because you can practice it a whole lot. Ed Parker once said, I would rather have 10 techniques I can fight with than 100 that fight me. And I took that as gospel. Less is more in many cases. So what I did with the staff set was I took everything that was, well, I took it all, but I just didn't do it as many times and in as many directions. I cut it down to where it flowed. It had all of the elements of the one he taught me, but it was just shorter, and it was a lot shorter. And one evening, Ed and I used to work out after the class, and we were doing business. We made those, before the tapes Vic and I made. There was the films that Ed Parker and I made. We were in white geese, and we both had black hair, and I had more of it. And where was I? Oh, anyhow, with the staff set. One night after the workout and the class was gone, and he and I were there, I said, I got something to show you. It's okay. So I got the staff and I did the staff set, and I had no idea what the man was going to say. I could see him saying, "Who do you think you are?" taking what I taught you and bastardizing it to that degree. But he looked at it and he looked at me and he says, "You know what?" He says, "Forget that other thing." He says, "This is what we'll teach." So that's a story of the staff set.
Well, that's awesome. That is so awesome. And I will just say, actually, I'm playing around with the controls here. I'm going to leave you in here for this. Thank you very much. It really is an honor to just be a part of anything that you're a part of. And for me to be able to present you is super duper cool. So we really, all of us really appreciate your time.
Well, let me say that it was just a joy and a pleasure to be here and to watch you guys. And the things that you've come up with and things you've done with just this one technique, I'll be a guest forever.
And we're going to hold you to that, sir. We're going to hold you to that. Well, thank you very much to Mr. Chuck Sullivan. That was, for me, I was a little kid again, just hearing that, just a karate student, just a karate student. That was spectacular. All right, so now we come to the final Pass the Mic of the year. This is it. This is the last Pass the Mic of the year. So if all the instructors can unmute their mic, 30 seconds each. First one is going to be Michael Miller.
All right, another great day, my friends. I have three main things I want to say. Number one, Mr. Sullivan, thank you so much. It was awesome. You did great, as we all knew you would. We appreciate you. Great to see you. Number two, Tom Bleeker, thank you for stepping in and checking this out, my friend. Tom and I are good friends. We message each other several times a day, usually. And one thing I want to say about Mr. Bleeker is that his autobiography is now out, Journeying Beyond the Mountaintop. I was honored to be a part of that project. So check it out. You can get it on Amazon, or if you want an inscribed copy, you can get one from Tom Bleeker. Just message him. He'll explain how to do that. Third thing I want to say is, did anybody else notice that AJ Collado looks like Matthew McConaughey, or was that just me? Anyway, moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We're going to throw it over to Monte.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It's a great honor, and it's an unbelievable ending for a tough year on all of us. And this brought it up, made the end of the year a little bit happier.
All right.
We're grateful that we have this kind of an ending. I appreciate the Brotherhood, and I encourage everybody to sign up. It's an unbelievable investment, and the camaraderie and the positive influence that you receive from all the brothers and sisters that we have. Salute to all, and happy holidays.
Thank you very much, Monty. Throwing it over to Mark Lawler.
These are all great. Today is particularly special with you being here, Mr. Sullivan. And Dan's right. It was like I felt like a little kid hearing you talk about that. It kind of took me there. What a cool thing to be able to hear from somebody that's actually been there. And you guys taking a technique, and we all have variations. There's no ego, and you know, we all do our thing, and we share this. This is really cool because, you know, we all know you don't run into that a lot. Everybody wants to quibble and get political. We don't do that, and that's what makes us even better. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Lawler. Throwing it up to Canada, Steve Stewart.
It was an honor to hear you, Mr. Sullivan, speak about staff set. If you want to be a guest for life, that's great, but it comes with a story. Brotherhood, these guys have been mates of mine for close to 30 years, a lot of them. And it's been a great honor to be a part of it, all the way to cold north during COVID. Can't wait till we can all get together again, get on the mat together. I encourage everybody to speak to other people about being on the Brotherhood and make this grow as we get into the next decade, 2021 around the corner. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody be safe, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stewart. Brian Saul.
All right. Well, what can I say? Fantastic to see everybody as always. All my brothers. Mr. Sullivan, it was a true honor and a pleasure to have you join us today. I second the motion of feeling like a little kid again. So thank you very much. It's good to see Mr. Bleeker in the audience out there. You know, the book, if you're lucky enough, you have to get your copy, and then maybe it'll get lost in the mail and you'll get a second copy. All right. So thank you to everyone. Have a great holiday, great New Year's, and I can't wait for our next one.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. It is my turn. Yes, I'm going to continue on the shout-outs to Mr. Tom Bleeker. Tom Bleeker, we can't tell you how much we appreciate all the support you've given us. Tom Bleeker's been very vocal in his support about us. He's even published it, you know, and that wasn't necessary. It's greatly appreciated, you know, for us to do something like this and to have the support of someone like you just lets us know we're doing the right thing. And the other thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to the rest of my Brotherhood instructors. All right. You guys are, I almost cursed. You guys are the stuff, I'll say. Since this whole COVID stuff, we started this group chat. When I tell you, my wife is like, geez, how many messages are you going to get? We are talking all the time. And when it's called the Brotherhood, Sabora came up with the name. Yeah, you were right, Sabora. This is a brotherhood because I have some brothers for life. And those are the guys that I roll with all the time. Brian Saul, Michael Miller, Monty, Dan Donfro, Angelo, Sabora, Steve Stewart, Lorenzo, David Gigliotti. Okay. Who did I forget? I'm sure I forgot somebody. Angelo, Steve. If I forgot you, it doesn't matter. I love you anyway. All right. So we're going to throw it over to, he's not unmuted, but we're going to throw it over to, let's see, Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody. It's a very honor for me to be part of this family. This is a great people, and I want to give thank you so much, Mr. Sullivan, for your note about the technique and about the staff set. And I want to take one second more to thanks to Tom Bleeker for the books that you are writing about the biography of the master, because a lot of people that don't know the master. Now we can learn, we can know something more about this teacher. Thank you so much, Tom Bleeker. And one thing for AG, I love your hair. For the I love your hair. So thank you so much for everybody. The more important thing is get safe and keep safe and have a great Christmas, okay? So we come back when the next time for the party, okay? Ciao, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. All right, Angelo, before I throw it to you, I'm going to throw myself in here for a second. I'm just going to interject real quick. So last month we had Studio 54 mustached AJ. This month we have long hair, Matthew McConaughey, AJ. So we're all just wondering what you guys are going to do for next month. All right, I'm out of here. Angelo and AJ.
All right.
Yeah, he changes his look every workout. He comes with a different hairdo. He had a man bun the other day too. Kind of throws me off. But anyway, Mr. Sullivan, thank you so much for being a participant today. Having you here, having Mr. Tom Bleeker here really means a lot because it kind of completes the circuit. I mean, we were around, our teachers taught us. This is a new generation of guys that are up and coming, and to have the support of the people who were there originally means a whole hell of a lot to us. And I think it means a lot to the Brotherhood. It means a lot for the system. And I'm with your support, we're going to continue to grow. With your advice, we're going to continue to grow. And thank you for that. To all my brothers out there, I love you all. I hope we can all be together soon. I'm really missing getting out and getting hit. This is the only guy that hits me all the time and beats me up. But
thank you, AJ.
Love you guys. And come join us, guys. Brotherhood. Every month we're here. We're here for you. We can support you guys. We'll have some great times together. And that's about all I got to say.
Good stuff
Thank
today.
you, guys. And again, salute. And we'll see you next time, hopefully. Merry Christmas.
All right, we're going to throw it over one last time to Mr. Chuck Sullivan.
I got to tell you, what a fantastic group of martial artists.
That's amazing.
You guys are so impressive, really. You've taken what we started out with years, well, in my case, come February, it'll be 62 years. February 59 is when I got involved. To my knowledge, only Dave Hevler and I remain from the 50s. I can't think of anybody else who's still doing it from that era. But anyway, to be exposed to what you guys are doing and what you've done already is so impressive. I'm so glad that I get this invitation and I got the opportunity to see everything. And Tom Bleeker, let's talk about New Year's. To hell with COVID. And thank you once again. Thank you, Angelo, for contacting me and allowing me to be part of this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chuck Sullivan. And then the final word for 2020, Mr. Sportchan.
Man, how about that, huh? Excellent show today, guys. Thank you. Thank you to Grandmaster Sullivan for joining us today. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us. And thank you to all the participants and our members that tune in every time we have the show. You know, you guys really help make it happen. And, you know, I cannot wait to see what the new year brings. You know, I mean, right now with the COVID and stuff like that, it hinders a couple of our, not a couple, quite a few of our in-person event. But this Zoom Kenpo Roundtable here really helped bring everybody together from around the world, you know, which is awesome. And once again, I want to thank all of the Brotherhood instructors. You know, like Dan said, our brothers, my brothers, you know, I mean, we know each other for almost 30 years, if not 30 years. So, you know, we're still at it and doing things, making things happen. And I look forward to go on a few more years with everyone, you know. So wish you guys a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you 2021. Salute, you guys.
Salute.
Salute. All right, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Have happy holidays, and we will see you again soon. And Chuck Sullivan, we're going to hold you to it. We will see you again soon. Good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Great job, guys.
All right.
Here's from your office.